This little device might be one of the coolest upgrades you can make to your computer, but is it the most useful thing to upgrade? After all, you can find thousands and thousands of PC accessories for under $100 to upgrade your computer, some of which are remarkably useful and others that are, well, just so darn ridiculous that it just might be the coolest ways to upgrade your computer. So today I'm evaluating a handful of these sub 100 PC accessories on a scale from useful to ridiculous, starting with an accessory that can upgrade the portability of your desktop computer. So opening it up, it looks like it really is just a carrying kit. Let's see how it works. This appears to be the money-making strap right here, which I think can wrap around our case. And then tighten down the hatches. All right, I mean, assembly-wise, that wasn't that bad to just start carrying a computer. Granted, it is just like a couple of straps that you just wrap around a PC, but we can't forget the shoulder strap. Clips into these little holes right here. Bam and bam. All right, I dig this. This actually works surprisingly well. If you've had to carry around a lot of computers, you know it's kind of awkward to lug around. This frees up both hands so I can carry my Mountain Dew and my Cheetos to the LAN party. My gut says this is more ridiculous than useful, but I can see situations where it'd be nice to have a handle on top of your PC. Moving on, you ever just get kind of bored with your PC case's just normal tempered glass side panel? I mean, yeah, you can see through it. Cool, that's all you can do? Well, if that's how you feel, then this next PC upgrade will quite literally blow your mind. Because it's blowing my mind right now. Check that out. With this smart film technology, you could quite literally toggle the transparency of your PC side panel. Which, can we just take a moment and talk about how this feels like magic? Because it kind of is. How this works is that inside of this film, there are tons of liquid crystals that randomly dispersed, which are deflecting light, meaning that we get this kind of opaque look. We can't see behind it. But then when we introduce an electric current to the film, all of those liquid crystals align, allowing light to pass through it perfectly seamlessly. So if you've ever thought about upgrading the side panel of your PC case, well, this is one of the most interesting ways to do that. Now, there are a couple of caveats. First of all, you can get this size of a film like this on Amazon. This is technically a sample of this technology for around $50 for this side. So using it to replace the entire side panel of a normal ATX case, I think you'd need around 2 of them and they'd have to overlap a little bit. So I think using a mid-tower case would actually be like the perfect use case for something like this, because if we unclip our harness, this one sheet of smart film covers this front panel perfectly. And this would be such a cool way to expose the internals of your computer. The other caveat is that this does require its own dedicated power. Now, there's likely a way to rig it up so that when your computer powers on and produces power to all the other components, that the film also receives power as well. It would be pretty cool to say, not be able to see through your computer when it's not turned on, and then when your computer spins to life, then you can see through it. As cool as this is, it's definitely going in the ridiculous pile. Totally unnecessary. Glass serves its purpose really well as a side panel. This would be more for just something aesthetic and just really interesting. So cool, but ridiculous, which not a bad place to be, really. I'll take that. All right, now is one of the best times to expand and upgrade your computer's storage. The price of storage in general has been on this amazing downward trend for the past decade or so. And so today you can find some amazing deals on 1 and even 2 terabyte NVMe SSDs for your PC. The things to keep in mind when shopping around for new SSDs is, first of all, can your motherboard support the kind of SSD that you're looking at? This one right here, you can see it says WD Black PCIe Gen 3, which means this is a Gen 3 SSD. So if our computer supports up to Gen 4, getting a Gen 3 means we're not taking advantage of all of the read and write speeds that we would have access to. And vice versa, if our computer only supports up to Gen 3 and we buy a Gen 4 drive, we're kind of losing out on that added benefit of having a Gen 4 drive. Even though it will still work, it'll just be at a reduced speed. And let's be real, expanding the amount of storage you have on your computer is one of the most tangible upgrades you can make in your computer. So expanding your storage is for sure going in the useful category. And speaking of tangible benefits, I'd like to take a moment to thank today's video sponsor, Pulseway. Managing a single computer is hard enough as it is. So now try to imagine dealing with 10 computers, 100 computers, even 1,000 or more computers all at once. That can quickly turn into a nightmare, which is where Pulseway comes in. Pulseway allows you to monitor and manage your entire IT infrastructure, all from any device closest to you. So whether you're in charge of servers or workstations or even a bunch of mobile devices, Pulseway allows you to keep tabs on every single one of them in real time, and most importantly, allows you to deal with critical issues on the go. phone. So whether you're out walking your dog or getting a bite to eat, you can troubleshoot these problems remotely and make fixes wherever you are. I've personally found it pretty useful to install Pulseway on every single computer in my studio. So when I'm at home and there's a big, say, Windows update, I don't have to come all the way to the office to just click buttons on every computer. I can do that entirely remotely from my phone at home. So if you would like to experience this new wave of IT management, then you can join the already thousands of satisfied customers by starting your free Pulseway trial in the link down below. Big thank you to Pulseway for sponsoring today's video. And now back to the PC upgrades. Up next is a way to upgrade your computer's power button. And if this looks like an ignition switch, like in a car, well, you'd be right. Except for the fact that this is also a momentary switch, meaning that when we take a key and insert it into this slot, as soon as we turn it, what ends up happening is that the circuit is completed between these two pins, meaning we can use it to turn on our computer. So we will also need a DuPont wire to cover up the power pins on our motherboard. I'll go ahead and cover those right now. And then all we have to do is connect each of these wires to the exposed pins on this momentary ignition switch, just like that and like that. As you can see, now our wires are connected. And then, well, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Just like that, our computer spins to life. Legitimately one of the coolest ways I think you could ever turn on a PC. That said, as cool as this is, I do think it's more ridiculous than useful. Because let's be real, the security aspect, well, it is really interesting. I mean, someone could just short out the pins if they have access to your PC in the first place. I suppose it would make it easier to deter a, say, younger sibling or a cat from accidentally powering on your computer. So in those use cases, it's useful. But other than that, I just think it's really cool, but also ridiculous. Also, this ignition momentary switch is like $7 on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below. But to make it actually integrated with your computer, like I said, you'll also need DuPont wires. You'll also probably need a step drill bit to drill into your case if you'd like to actually have it be more presentable. So I can make a full tutorial of how to install this momentary ignition switch into your PC. Just let me know if you'd like to see that in the comments down below. But yeah, I'm chalking this up as more ridiculous than useful, although really freaking cool. Up next, we have a USB foot switch to upgrade your computer's input system when a typical keyboard is not enough. A bit tangential, but sometimes I wonder how long it would take me to learn how to type on a keyboard with my feet. I haven't tried that challenge yet, but I'm actively considering doing it. But all right, simple enough. We have a USB on one end, and on the other end, a big old button that looks like a pedal. I'm not sure how plug and play this pedal is, so let's just go ahead and see what happens. Is it automatically recognized? Oh, just clicking it out of the gate does nothing. But maybe if I open up a text document and, oh, okay, well, there you go. Now we get something at least. You can see that it's clicking the letter B, which hypothetically you can map inside, say, a video game. I have seen some use cases where people use this as a push-to-talk button. So while they're sitting here at their desk, they can use their foot to turn on and off their push-to-talk instead of having to, dedicate a finger to do that action. Although I'm trying to think what other use cases would be helpful to have a foot pedal. It could be funny to map this button to completely swap your workstation. So say, for example, you're supposed to be working and are instead watching YouTube, then someone's coming to your desk. You can step on this real quick and automatically pull up your code that you're supposed to be writing or something like that. I legitimately think this is more useful than ridiculous. I think you could find a lot of use cases where having an extra button that isn't requiring a finger to be actually useful. And this one in particular on Amazon was like 17 bucks. I know Elgato sells one for like $70, which I think it has multiple buttons. So added functionality, added integration to their ecosystem, but even for a simple button that presses B, 17 bucks, not bad. I'm chalking this one up as useful. This little bottle contains one of the most interesting liquids that I've ever seen, mainly because they claim it's the darkest liquid in the entire world. It's so dark, in fact, that it absorbs over 99% of all visible light, giving an effect that ends up looking honestly pretty eerie in person because it's hard to tell where the object starts and ends. So say, for example, you want to upgrade the aesthetic of your computer from, say, this bright red into a more jet black. Well, this would give you the ability to go for a pure anti-RGB kind of look. You'll likely need a couple hundred milliliters of this paint in order to completely cover a PC, and quite a bit of patience. But as they say, bit by bit, a little becomes a lot. Although ultimately unnecessary. I have seen zero tangible benefits of this besides aesthetics. So into the ridiculous column it goes. As we keep on keeping on, this is a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply. And honestly, it might just be the most useful thing on this entire list today. today. And that's because this little box can protect your computer and honestly your entire gaming setup from funky things happening during power outages. Basically, a UPS provides a temporary battery backup for anything plugged into it. So you can plug in your monitor and your computer directly into here and then plug this into a wall outlet. And then if you happen to lose power, instead of your computer having to handle that change in voltage, the UPS will instead kick onto battery mode and continue to feed your computer and your setup power for a little bit, allowing you to shut it down properly. There are a few different things to consider when looking at UPSs, but the main one is the type of UPS. Basically, you'll pick between a standby UPS, which is like this one, or a line interactive UPS. And the main difference is that standby UPSs take around 10 milliseconds to transfer to battery backup, whereas the line interactive UPSs take around 4 milliseconds. What that means in practice can vary from electronic to electronic, but essentially the shorter it takes to transfer to battery backup, the better it is for the piece of technology. That said, even having a standby one, this one was $60 on Amazon, offers far better protection than just plugging your components into, say, a wall outlet or even an extension cable. So the UPS is definitely getting chalked up into the useful category. And with that, let me know your thoughts on all of these PC upgrades and accessories. As always, I've been Mr. Yeaster, your tech tinkerer, and I'll catch you in the next one.